Good morning, Year 3. Welcome to the last lesson of the week, and it is a writing lesson. So hopefully you'll be able to magpie all those wonderful ideas that you've picked up on this week and use them in your setting description. So without further ado, let's get started and prepared, ready for the lesson. So have your pencil or pen ready and paper. Use the pause button if you need to. So here's a quick recap. We had a big session on fronted adverbials for reading and for writing yesterday. This should be all very straightforward. On the left hand side you have the fronted adverbial. Match it with the clause on the right hand side. So remember, you're adding additional information and it needs to make sense. I won't read it. You can do this in your own time. And your second activity on fronted adverbials, you have the fronted adverbials at the very bottom. With a smile, suddenly, with a wave of her wand, like lightning, fearfully, with great courage, like an acrobat, nervously. Match the fronted adverbial with the clause on the right hand side. Once you've done that activity, press the pause button if you need to. It'll take far too long to try and mark that right now, so we'll just move on into the session. Press the pause button if you need to. The task today is to write a setting description in role as a junior engineer who designs and constructs their own robots. Your senses will play a vital role in this text as you will describe the various things you can see, hear, touch, smell and feel. But first, we need to look at existing text to investigate what it means to be successful. Well, we've done all of that. Today, you have to remember the key features of a setting. We'll go over them again and use or magpie any elements that you can recall. So here are the key features. Describe the senses, see, touch, hear and smell. Everyone is capable of doing expanded noun phrases. Everyone can use at least one adverb. Remember, simple adverbs have ly at the end. Slowly, quickly, silently, carefully, they're all basic adverbs. Fronted adverbials, you've had plenty of practice yesterday and in the activity prior to this. Prepositions, they're just words that give possession. Inside, outside, on the left, right, top, bottom, below, under, they are all prepositions. So fitting a preposition into a piece of writing is not that complicated. Apostrophe for possession, we've done quite a bit of work on this. You just need to show who the object or thing belongs to. So it could be very straightforward, Jack's toy. That's as simple as it gets. So in this case could be Rashid's robot. That's a bit of alliteration as well. And technical vocabulary, you will use that screws, sprockets, cogs, cranes, all that type of thing. And we will look at some of that technical vocabulary. So if we look at an old piece of text that we've been over all this week, as the girl entered her workshop, her detailed signs, designs and blueprints were scattered all over the large wooden table. So we know that is a noun phrase. Large wooden describes the table. The table's large and it's made of wood. And then we have the fronted adverbial. 4 months. We could have 4 weeks, 4 days. For such a long time. Is there a possible replacement for that? So lots of fronted adverbials. Here are some alternatives down below. For weeks and weeks, for what felt like forever, day after day, over time, for a while. So you can just replace those very quickly. And then the second highlighted sentence, across the floor. Across is a preposition as well. So it's part of that fronted adverbial. In the center of the workshop, that is a fronted adverbial. Center happens to be a preposition, so it gives us a location of where the robot or the creative masterpiece is located. Surrounding the giant iron beast, that's a fronted adverbial. It also forms part of a noun phrase. Giant iron are the descriptions, or the describes the beast. So we get a fronted adverbial, and in that fronted adverbial is also a noun phrase. Buzzing and hissing, those are part of the senses. They are things that you can hear. And if there's steam coming out, then obviously it's something you can see as well. So that's part of using the senses when you write. And further on, it has the smell of smoke wafted. That's another sensory input by the writer. So you can picture the smell of smoke. It's as simple as that. So what else can we do? Well, here are other alternatives for different fronted adverbials. In the middle of the workshop. Rather than saying directly opposite the wooden table, you can say in the middle of the workshop, at the heart of the workshop, next to large wheel, beside the machines, underneath the steaming pipes. They give you a location. So part of that is related to prepositions as well. Underneath is a location, beside is a location, next to is a location. That's a preposition. So just think about those things, keep them in mind, magpie them if you can. That's the whole idea. We cannot hope for completely original writing. So create some of the ideas and then magpie some ideas. That's how the writing should develop over time. So it will always be a good idea to have an image to work with. So you have a picture that you can see, and then you can describe different parts of the setting. Okay, so you can see there are robots in each of these images. There are some people there who would be the junior engineer working on their creative robot or invention. So get used to the idea that look at the images. What can you describe? Where is the robot located? What is it like in the room? What can you smell? What can you hear? All those things. What are the engineer, or what's the engineer or the workers touching? So remember, senses are not that complicated. They're just things that you can hear, see, touch or feel, smell. Okay, so use your senses. So that's on the left here, just a reminder about the features that you need to focus on and the task that you have. So I'm going to use this image here to help me plan what I want to write. So you can write basic notes to begin with, if that's how you like to do it, and that is always a good idea if you do some planning. So you can see what's it like in the room. Part of the room's in light, part of it is still in darkness or semi-darkness. There are tools or a toolbox on the floor, a keyboard, a monitor. There's a girl standing on the right-hand side of the engineer, on our left of course. The robot seated in the middle of the room or in the center. Remember all of those prepositions you can use. What's it feel like in that room? Is it silent? Is there noise of tools being used? Is there a whirring sound or buzzing sound? All those types of things. So look carefully and think about the things that you can describe about the setting. And that's where you use your expanded noun phrases. You're going to use your similes. If you can think of metaphors, you can still use those because they will go towards your key features. But essentially, noun phrases, adverbs, front adverbials, prepositions, apostrophe for possession. The engineer's robot. Now you can, it says here to do it really in first person. If you choose to do it in third person, like we could say this is Adria's robot, which will give us that apostrophe for possession. If you change how you want to write the story, that's perfectly all right. Just remember, describe the senses, see, touch, hear, and smell. And then put into place all of those other elements, key features that we've worked on. So I've written a piece already to describe what I could see in this image. As the morning sun, fronted adverbial, comma, shone in the workshop, half the room remained in semi-darkness. Now that's part of the senses because semi-darkness is to do with light. So it's to do with what the reader can see. Okay, and with that semi-darkness, they can feel that as well. Carefully, comma, that's a fronted adverbial using an adverb. Carefully, I began working on my new project. As the sun peered in, I couldn't help but use my metaphor there. The sun peered in. I'm giving that sun human characteristics. So you can see the light on the left hand side, or if we're looking at the picture on the right hand side of the engineer. So I'm pretending that the sun's looking into the room, watching her work on her new project. My grey, comma, iron robot sat as still as a statue in the middle of the dusty floor. So my grey iron robot, that's a simple noun phrase. Grey and iron describe the noun's the robot. And sat as still as a statue, you know what that is, it has the word like in it. I couldn't help but put a simile in there because we've worked on similes this week. In the middle of the dusty floor. Middle is a location, it's a preposition. And dusty floor just describes what the floor is like. So it's all about descriptive writing. Use good description. It makes the narrative far more interesting. And in the second paragraph I've written, without making a sound, comma, that's a fronted adverbial. Jupiter stood silently next to us. So you can see Jupiter on our left, but on the engineer's right, and the robot's right as well. Behind her, comma, fronted adverbial, stood another black metal creation. So after the fronted adverbial, black metal creation. Creation is the noun, and black and metal are the adjectives. So I've got another noun phrase. It was supported by rods and steel brackets. Now, rods and steel brackets we can put down as technical vocabulary. And then I start in the next sentence, my keyboard and monitor. Well, keyboard and monitor could go down as technical vocabulary as well. So I've only just looked at the picture and described what I could see, what it would feel like to be in that room. So use your descriptive writing skills, remember the features, and don't forget, we've done lots of work on similes and metaphors. Using similes and metaphors, even in this type of writing, is a very good idea. Okay, so you learn to use them in poetry, you learn to use them in narrative writing, story writing. So have a think, find an image that you like and that you think you can describe descriptively using the key features plus similes and metaphors. 2 paragraphs of writing, of good quality writing, will be perfectly adequate. So it doesn't have to be a long narrative. Keep it simple. 2 paragraphs trying to use the key features. Well, good luck with the task. I do look forward to seeing your writing. Have a wonderful weekend and get plenty of time. You'll get plenty of time to relax and enjoy a couple of days of not having to do online learning. Thank you all so much for emailing your work in. As usual, I am very thankful. So enjoy your weekend, take care and be safe. Speak to you next week. Bye for now. Email your work to yr3@grange.harrow.sch.uk. Thank you very much. Take care. Bye.